Hi everyone, this is Anil. Today in this lecture I am going to teach you how to solve critical path related problems. I am going to solve three critical path method related problems, very easy to the difficult one. After completing this lecture, you should be able to solve all kind of CPM related problems. Before moving forward, please make sure you have subscribed my channel and press the bell icon so that you will get updated when I upload a new content. Let's get started. You can see in the screen, this is the problem number 1. So you must be familiar with the short form we use in critical path method. So this is the format we use. You can see in the screen, uh, early start, D for duration, E of early finish, late start, late finish, and total float. Okay, so these are the things you should be familiar with because we are going to use the same format to solve the critical path problems. Okay, here is a problem. So let us go into the problems. So since you can see, the project start with activity A because activity A does not have any predecessors, so you must start with those activity which do not have any predecessor. Okay, that will be the first activity. So you can see the activity B has the predecessor A, so by default, so the relationship between the activity, if there is no mention of any sort of relationship, it will be finish to start relationship, means activity B will start after activity A will be completed. So okay, so you must be familiar with these terms, finish to start. So finish to start is by default. Okay, so activity C has predecessor A and B. So activity C can start only if activity A and activity B are completed. Both activity shall be completed to start activity C. Similarly, activity D has a predecessor of activity B. So D can only start once activity B is completed. Okay. Activity E has predecessor C and D. So both C and D has to be completed to start activity E. And activity F can only be started once activity E is completed. Okay, so based on this relationship, we will draw a critical path. Okay, so at the very beginning, we will start with activity A. Do not go with any numbers. I'm going to explain you about how these numbers are has been developed. So activity A, once you start with the activity A, then you go with the activity B. Okay, activity B, since you can see activity B has a duration of 6, you need to fill these details. Okay, D, first we will fill activity D. Okay, activity B, duration 6, then B has the relationship with A, that is finish to start. So for the finish to start, we will connect from this point to this point. Activity C has a relationship with A and B, so C is connected with A, C is connected with B. Okay, C has the duration of 2. Okay, activity D has duration of 3 and has finished to start relationship with B. Okay, D is connected with B with relationship 3. Activity E is connected with C and D, finished to start relationship. So activity E has duration of 5 and relationship with D and C. Okay, and activity F has predecessor E. F has predecessor E with the duration of 3. Okay, first we fill all these details. The D and activity are filled. The next step is to start with forward pass. So forward pass, what we do is consider forward pass, backward pass. In forward pass we have F, consider F. In backward pass we have B. So means F is greater than B. This is the short form trick you can remember. F is greater than B means in forward pass you take a greater value, B backward pass you take a smaller value. Okay, now let's go to the forward pass. So all any activity unless it is mentioned, it starts at the day 0. Okay, so early start means the very beginning of the project, day 0. Okay, 0. The duration is 4 day, so means early finish means the early date you can finish is plus 4 day means plus duration from the early start. So you just have to do summation 0 plus 4 will be 4. Okay, this must be very clear for you. Okay, the next step is forward pass to the successor. So the successor of A are B and C, but C has a dependency with B, so you cannot calculate C directly. First you need to complete the activity B. So activity B, early start of activity B, sorry, can be, B can only start once activity A is completed. Means this number 4 means early finish has to be carried to early start. So you just consider, if the relation is finish to start, you just move the same value from here to here. Okay, in the next question it is going to be complicated, but this one is really simple. Okay, just move this value from here to here. The duration of activity B is 6, so 4 plus 6 will be 10. This must be very clear to you. Okay, so activity B will be completed on 10th day. It means on the 10th day activity B will be completed. Okay, now activity C can only start when both activity B and A can are completed. Means activity A is completed on 4th day, activity B is completed on 10th day. Since C can start when both A and B are completed, means C cannot start on 4th day. C can only start on 10th day after B is completed. Okay, so that is why we copy this value to here. So that is what we call forward pass. Okay, 10 plus 2 days duration for activity C, that will be 12. Okay, C will be completed on 12th day. Now activity D, let's move to the activity D. D has predecessor B, so means very simple, just move, means copy same number 10 to this point. Okay, early finish to early start. So D will start on 10th day, 3 days of duration, it will be completed on 13th day. This is also simple. Now the slight tricky is on activity E. Activity E has predecessor D and C. So E can only start, it has finished to start relationship. So I already mentioned you that if there is no relationship mentioned in the questions, means by default it will be finish to start, means finish then start. Okay, finish, activity D finish on 13th day, activity C finish on 12th day. So means activity E cannot start unless both of them complete, means the highest number of days is 13. So on 13 day only activity E can start. Okay, 13. So that is why we take 13, we cannot take 12. Okay, because unless activity D is completed, you cannot start activity E. This must be very clear to you. Okay, then you work for 5 days, means you will complete your task activity E on 18th day. Now the last activity F has a relationship with E, finish to start, means activity F can start on 18th day, 3 days of durations, 18 plus 3 will be 21. Okay, so means your total duration of your project is, from forward pass you came to know that it is 21th day. On 21th day activity F will be completed. Okay, now it's time for the backward pass. Since I already mentioned your trick for backward pass, B is smaller than F, means you will consider the smaller value while doing a pass. Okay, so we'll start this way. Since we came this way, now we are going back way, this way. Okay, so the last date, completion date will be same for either early finish or late finish. What is the difference between early finish and late finish? Is early finish means how fast you can complete, late finish means how late you can complete. Okay, so that will be calculated in, while you calculate the total float, you will get familiar with it when we move into the next question. So copy the same value from here to here. Since this is the last activity, you can just copy this number over here. So you need to subtract this with the durations. Okay, every time you calculate this one, you need to subtract with the duration. Okay, 21 minus 3 will be 18. So now this is called total float. Since you see this is called total float, total float is subtraction of within the activity, within your activity, the activity you are working on, subtract late finish minus early finish or late start minus early start. So what actually total float means is, suppose you are working on any activity, if you delay that activity, so the duration you can delay that activity so that the rest of all the activities in your sequence is not affected. Means, for example, if you have any of the buffer in your activity, some of the duration in your activity, even you delay by some days, your project is not going to affected. Okay, that is called total float. In this case it is 0. It means you cannot alter this activity, you cannot delay this activity. If you delay this activity by one day, your project will be delayed by one day. Okay, that is the purpose of total float. Now let's go to the activity E. So since we are going backward pass, so only look on the lower values. Okay, let start, let finish. So the least value you can take is 18. Take the 18 from here, place it here, subtract by 5 the duration, and it will be 13. So now what will be total float? Subtract 18 minus 18 will be 0, 13 minus 13 also will be 0. So make sure that while subtracting both the cases, the numbers will be same. If you have any dissimilarity between the subtractions, means there is some mistake in your solution. Okay, so let's move further ahead. So now activity E has backward pass to C and D. Now 13 can go directly 13 here. Okay, 13 to 13, 13 to 13. Okay, this will go here. So what will happen here? 13 minus 3 will be 10. 13 minus 13 equal to 0. 10 minus 10 equal to also 0. Okay, this is okay. Since you pass 13 here, 13 minus 2 will be 11. So 13 minus 12 will be 1. 11 minus 10 will be 1. Means 1 is the total float. Okay, 1 is the total float for the activity C. So what it actually means is the activity C was actually completed on 12th day, but activity E was starting on the 13th day. Means you had 1 day duration between this activity. So if you delay your activity C by 1 day, your successor E is not going to be impacted, because activity E was depending on D rather than C. This is how what actually total float means. C has a total float of 1, means you can alter this activity by 1 day, you can delay by 1 day, your project is not going to be affected. Okay, this is very important while you are doing any sort of projects. You need to understand if your activity is in the critical path or not. Okay, so now let's go to the backward pass. So since you need to do the backward pass, since I mentioned you that B has connection with D and C, so the backward pass has to go from C and D, both C and D, right? But we need to take the smaller one since it is a backward pass. So 10 or 11, either of them. Okay, so you need to take the smaller one. Go take the 10. 10 minus 6 4, 4 minus 4 0, 10 minus 10 0. Okay, again A has to be taken, the backward pass of A has to taken from B and C. Okay, we need to take the smaller one as we already mentioned. So you need to take the least among 4 or 11. So the 4 has to be taken. Okay, 4 minus 4 is 0. First of all, 4 minus 4 is 0. 0 minus 0, 4 minus 4 0. So this is all about the critical path. So this was the most easiest problem in critical path method. So let me recap these questions. So while going forward pass, you take the higher value. While taking the backward pass, you take the smaller least start to late finish. Okay, and for the critical path, now the question will ask what is the critical path in these questions. So take all the activities with total float 0 and in one direction. So A, B, D, E, F. So A, B, D, E, F is the critical path in your project. So in this question, A, B, D, E, F is critical path, and the total float in this project is, for the activity C you have 1, means you have the total float of 1 in activity C. Okay, so C is not the critical activity. Other than this, all the activities are critical, because if you delay any of this activity by any number of days, your project is not going to be completed on 21st day. Just let us consider, if you are supposed to complete B on 10th day, but by any cause if you delay your project and if you complete B activity B on 12th day, means since you already affected by 2 days here, your project is going to be completed on 23rd day. Okay, so this is very important to understand when you are working in any project. Okay, so I think this one is much more easier. Maybe you are already familiar with these sort of problems, but the next questions is not only about the forward pass, means a finish to start relationship, but the relationship will get more complicated. Okay, let's move to the next question. Okay, so in these questions, the those activity are same, but we have altered the relationship. Now we need to discuss what sort of relationship we have in the project. Earlier it was finish to start relationship, means whenever activity previous activity completes, the next is activity starts. But in this case, in the real time scenario, this is not always happening. For example, when you complete excavations, you lay foundations, right? But if your excavations, you have like hundreds of foundations, but if since you completed 10 foundations, you can start working on 10 foundation, but your excavation work has not been completed, means you have start to start relationship in this activity, right? You can continue doing the foundation work while your excavation works also continues. So this is actually happening in the real time scenario. So let's solve these problems. So since we have start to start relationship, finish to finish relationship, finish to start relationship, but that is by default, and start to finish relationship, but in a practical scenario there are no finish start to finish relationship. So in construction you won't find such activity, but you will find start to finish relationship in operation related activities. Like for example, if someone has to be terminated, so someone will join and someone will terminate. Once someone is terminated and someone will join, so something like that. Okay, so let's not go into this, let's solve this problem. Okay, so activity A is the very beginning activities that do not have any predecessor. We'll start with activity A, duration 4. So we'll fill up the durations, all the duration. B has duration 6, C has duration 2, D has duration 3, E has duration 5, F has duration 3. Okay, these are the duration. Now very important thing is you need to connect each activity with another one in the proper order. Okay, so activity B has start to start relationship with 2 days lag with A, means when activity A starts, after 2 days activity B is going to start. Okay, unlike other, like previously what we did, activity B was starting after activity A completed, but in this case activity B starts after 2 days of activity A is starting. That is called start to start relationship. Okay, so activity B start to start. So how you connect is, this is the start on, early start means you connect with the start. This is also early, sorry, early start. So start to start with 2 days plus 2 days. Okay, activity C, finish to finish 4 day lag with A, and finish to start relationship with B. Since there is no any relationship mentioned with activity B, means that is finish to start by default. So activity C with B, finish to start means finish to start, you just connect these 2 points. Okay, and finish to finish with 4 days lag. Finish, this is finish, early finish, finish to finish, finish to finish with 4 day lag. Okay, now activity D, dependent on B, finish to finish 3D. D with B, finish to finish with 3 day lag. Okay, 3 day lag. Activity E, finish to start with C means finish to start with C, direct connected, and start to start with D with three days lag. Start to start with D with 3 days lag. Okay, and finally the activity F, directly finish to start relationship with E. Okay, so since you already feel those durations, each durations, now let's do the forward pass. So activity A is starting on the day 0, 0 plus 4, 4. Okay, 0 plus 4, 4 is done. Now activity B, activity B has start to start plus 2 days relationship, means this activity has relationship with start, not with finish. Okay, earlier what we used to do is we used to transfer 4 directly here, so student might get confused. Okay, start to means do not think about this is finish. Okay, this is start to start plus 2 days means 0 plus 2 days will be 2. Okay, this is how we connect. Since B has no finish to start relationship with A, this is only one relationship with A. Okay, B 2 plus 6 will be 8, so B will be completed on 8th day. Now activity C has finish to start relationship with B and finish to finish relationship with A. Okay, so now in this case you need to consider how you can get the higher value, because forward pass means higher. Okay, now just see an example. For example, if you had considered A, from C to A, if you consider that one, 4 plus 4 will be 8. You will get 8 finish. Okay, if you take 8 over here, means since it has finished to start relationships, so if you get 8 here, 8 plus 2 will be 10, means you will get higher value over here. You can think in a different way. Okay, let us consider you don't have this relationship with B. Okay, let us consider you don't have it. In this case, what will happen? 4 plus 4 will be 8. You will write 8 over here. So to get early start, you need to subtract minus 2 and you will get 6 over here. So your early start will be 6 if you consider A is a dominant predecessor. But since we have the B as a dominant predecessor, that is why your early start will be 8. Make sure you take the higher value, not the smaller one. So this way you will achieve the higher early start, means greater early start. So that is why we choose this way to get this value. Okay, 8 plus 2 will be 10. Now going to the activity D. D has finish to finish relationship with B. Finish to finish. Okay, we are not coming here at this point. We are coming at this point. From here to here, this will be calculated later. First, let us deal with this one. What is the exact relationship? We deal with the exact relationship. Finish to finish. Okay, finish to finish means 8 plus 3 days lag. You see, 8 plus 3 will be 11. So 11, that is a finish. So we don't have this value as of now. What we have to do, we need to subtract and get this value. So since 3 day is the duration, so 11 minus 3 will be 8. So this is kind of very different from the problem we solved before. Okay, and D does not have finish to start relationship with any activities. So that is why we need to solve in this way. For example, if D had any direct relationship with A or C, maybe that the scenario could change, because we could achieve higher value in early start solving through that route, but we need to calculate through back propagation in this one. Okay, finish to finish relationship is finish to finish with 3 days, so 8 plus 3 is 11. So to calculate this value, 11 minus 3 will be 8. If you had this value, you will do 8 plus 3 11, but since we were not able to calculate this, we don't have any relationship with finish to start. That is why we need to calculate in this way. Okay, so now activity E has direct relationship with C, finish to start, and activity E has start to start plus 3 days lag. Okay, start to start plus 3 days, finish to start, finish to start. So what we do is take the higher early start. So means if you just forward pass from here, you will achieve 10 over here. But if you pass this one, 8 plus 3 will be 11. We need to take the higher one. So means this is the path. Okay, 8 plus 3 will be 11. This is what we're gonna take. 11 plus 5 will be 16. So the last activity F will just move 16 to here. 16 plus 3 will be 19. So this is the forward pass is completed. Now the project duration is 19 days. The same problem we had before, same duration we had, but relation has been changed. That is why now overall project duration has been changed. Okay, The same way we did forward pass, we are going to do backward pass. Okay, so 19 early finish, the 19 will be late finish. 19 minus 3 will be 16. Since we have only one relationship, finish to start, 16 will go there. 16 minus 5 will be 11. Okay, now it will get more tricky because this is not just finish to start relationship. Since with C you have finish to start relationship, you can just pass over 11 over here. 11 minus 2 will be 9. Okay, you can pass it directly, but this way, since the relation is start to start, so what you need to do is you need to pass the relationship from here to here. Okay, that is now more tricky. From here to here, previously we used to transfer here to here, but now you need to transfer from here to here. Okay, so 11 minus 3 will be 8. This is how we calculate. Earlier what we used to do, we used to transfer 11 directly here. Now we cannot do like that. Okay, since we don't have finish to start relationship. Since right now, since the value is same, but in different question the value could be different. Okay, so 11 minus 3, you take this one because you connected this with this, means this will be connected with this one. 11 minus 3 is 8, so 8 plus 3 will be 11. Okay, so 11 minus 11 is 0, 8 minus 8 is also 0. Same follows for this one. Now for the activity C, 10 minus 11 is 11 minus 10 is 1, 9 minus 8 is also 1. So total float for this activity is 1. Okay, so let's go furthermore, back propagations. So the relationship in this one, it can be taken from either C or D, but we need to take the least among them. Okay, so since the relationship here was finish to finish with 3 days lag, means here the relationship will be this to this, not from this to this. Okay, from finish to finish. So it was finish to finish 3, now minus finish to finish minus 3, means 11 minus 3 will be 8. Since it look like I just transfer 8 to here, but actually technically the calculation was 11 minus 3 is 8. Okay, because the relation is finish to finish, not finish to start. Okay, so 11 minus 3 is 8. So 8 minus, so another propagation will be from C, but since you have 9, if you transfer 9 over here, 9 or 8, the 8 is least one, right? So that is why we need to consider 8. Okay, so we need to take the least among them. So 8 will be returned. 8 minus 8 0. So 8 minus 6 will be 2. 2 minus 2 is 0. Okay, so the last activity, activity A. Activity A is dependent on B and C. So what we need to see is, since this is finish to finish relationship, so this value will come from here. Okay, this value has to come from here. So 11 minus 4 will be 7. Okay, let us consider 7 for a while, but we need to consider the least among them. So we need to take from here as well. So since it has a relationship start to start, so from here if you take it, 2 minus 2 will be 0. Okay, since we have 7 here, 2 here, 2 plus 4 will be 6, means this way we can achieve the least late finish. Okay, we can achieve the least late finish through this way, because if you take this one, 2 minus 2 0, 0 plus 4 will be 4, either 4 or 7, which one is least? Definitely 4. So this way we will get 4. We need to consider 4, not 7. Otherwise 9 minus, otherwise 11 minus 4 will be 7. Since our relationship is here to here or here to here. Okay, this is very important to understand. So that is why 4 minus 4 now will be 0, total float 0, 0 minus 0 will be 0. So this way it was forward pass, this way it was backward pass. Now if you see the critical path, A, B, D, E, F is the critical path because they have total float of 0. If you see, they have the total float 0, C has total float of 1. So means activity C can be delayed by 1 day, it is not going to impact the project. Okay, this is how we calculated. This was the almost complicated one. Okay, I hope uh, you can understand it. If you are not able to understand it, please replay this video and see the relationship how we connect it. Do not connect like this to all the questions. This connection is for finish to start. You must connect like this so that you won't get confused while you are solving the problem, and write the lag just above the arrow, so that each time when you do back propagation, so you will understand where to subtract and where to add. Okay,